Hello students, so let's start here with the next chapter of your social science, which is unit 7 under geography, India land resources. So in this chapter we are going to talk about the different land resources of India or those which are present in India. So here first of all you have to learn the very important term, which is land use or land utilization. Now, what do you mean by land use or land utilization? It simply means the distribution of land for different uses such as forestry, cultivation, pastures, etc. So for all these things, when you use land, the land is distributed in a particular percentage for all these things. That division of land is known as land utilization or land usage. Okay. So in this chapter we are going to learn about different classifications of land in India. So totally we have 7 classifications of land in India. So we are going to learn about each in detail one by one. First of all, let's start with the first type of land classification, that is net sown area. Net sown area. Okay, now what do you mean by this? Net sown area is the land which is included only for cultivation, to cultivate crops. Okay, to cultivate crops, the land which is used is known as net sown area, the land which is used for cultivation of crop. So how much percentage of net sown area is present in India? In India we have 42.42%. 42.42% of land of net sown area in India. Okay, 42.42%. You have to know the definition of each particular classification, each particular land. You have to know the definition and also the percentage. And you also have to remember the different states where you find this type of land. Net sown area in India is found mostly in the northern states of Punjab, Haryana, Western Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, all this region. So these region, they are, you can say, they have more cultivation, right? They have higher production of crop. So because of that, these areas are going to have more net sown area, that is nearly half, 42.42%, right? Let's move forward and learn about the second area, that is forest area, the land covered in forest area. Okay, so in India only 22.8% of the total area is under forest. How much percentage? 22.8% of land is under forest. So how much forest area do we have in India? We have 22.8% of forest area in India. So basically the definition will be the land covered or the land under forest is known as the forest area. So the different places which have forest area in India, they will include Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat. Okay, and there are also the northeastern states which have high percentage of forest area. So let's move forward and talk about the third type of land pattern in India, which is land not available for cultivation. Land not available for cultivation. So just as the name suggests, this land is not suitable for cultivation. You cannot grow any type of crop here in this land. So it is used for non-agricultural purposes like making buildings or making roads or making railways. Now why is it used for non-agricultural purposes? Because it is not cultivable. You cannot grow anything on that land. Maybe it is not fertile, maybe it is polluted, or there might be other reasons for that. Maybe there is very less rainfall there, maybe there is a high snowfall there. Whatever the reason is, for that reason the land is not available for cultivation. You cannot grow any type of crop on that land, and that's why this land will be used for non-agricultural purposes such as making roads, making railways, undergoing industrialization and making canals and all these things. Okay, so the major places which is having land not available for cultivation. These areas are found mostly in Assam, Manipur, Sikkim, etc. Assam, Manipur, Sikkim, etc. Okay, and what percentage of land is not available for cultivation? So exactly 14.1%. 14.1% of total land in India is not available for cultivation. Okay, 14.1%. So it is used for other non-agricultural things, other non-agricultural activities. Let's learn about the fourth one here, fallow land. Fallow land. Okay, what is fallow land here? It refers to the land which is not used for cultivation. Now, the major difference between fallow land and land not available for cultivation is that land not available for cultivation, even if you wish to do cultivation there, you cannot, because it is not suitable for cultivation. And the second one here, fallow land, is it is suitable for cultivation. It may be, it may not be. We don't know the reason, but cultivation is not being done there. If you wish to cultivate there, you can. It's not that you cannot cultivate on this land. You can, but it is not being cultivated. Understand the difference? It may or may not be cultivable. That is not a factor. The factor here is that it is not being cultivated. Okay, so the land which is not used for cultivation is fallow land. It's like wasteland. Fallow basically is wasteland. Okay, it's fine. It's good. It's fertile. It has water and everything, but it is not used for cultivation. So how much of fallow land do we have in India? We have 8.2%. 8.2% of fallow land in India. So mostly in Tamil Nadu, Meghalaya region, and this fallow land will be present. And minimum fallow land is present in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Puducherry, and all these regions. Okay, so let's learn about the fifth type of land usage pattern, that is cultivable wasteland. Okay, so what is cultivable wasteland? It includes land which is not taken up for cultivation due to certain soil deficiencies. It is not used for cultivation because there is some deficiency in the soil. Maybe it's not fertile, that could be one reason. Okay, the other factors are present. You have good availability of water, you have good availability of labor and other factors there, but only there is problem in the soil, because of which this land becomes cultivable wasteland. It is a wasteland because you're not able to cultivate there in that particular region. Okay, so 4.3% of cultivable wasteland is present in India, and the major regions that have cultivable wasteland are Goa, Nagaland, and Rajasthan. Okay, so these areas mostly they have land. You have enough water there, you have enough labor to carry on cultivation, but the only factor, the only drawback is that the soil is having some kind of deficiency. Deficiency means what? It is lacking in something. Okay, it does not have something, some certain thing which is important for cultivation, and that's why this land becomes a wasteland, cultivable wasteland. Okay, so these are the 5 type of land patterns that you've learned in India. Now let's move forward and learn about the remaining 2. The 6th one is permanent pastures and other grazing lands. Permanent pastures. What do you mean by pastures? Pastures are grazing land where animals are going to basically this land will be covered with grass and animals are going to eat the grass. So this land is going to provide the animals with fodder. What is fodder? Food is what human being will eat. Fodder is what animals will eat. Okay, so this pastures basically have fodder and they provide animals with their fodder. Okay, so permanent pastures and grazing lands, other grazing lands, other places where animals can graze, other grazing lands. So how much percentage of this land is present in India? So we have a good percentage of 3.4%. Now this might look like a small number, 3.4%, but it is enough for the animals or domestic or wild animals in India. This 3.4% is just enough for them. Okay, so we have 3.4% of permanent pastures and other grazing lands in India. 3.4%. So which region has more of these? Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. These regions are going to have more of permanent pastures and other grazing land. So let's learn about the last one, land under miscellaneous uses. Land under miscellaneous means other activities. Okay. Land under miscellaneous uses. So how much of land is there used for other activities? So it includes garden, it includes orchids plantations or some flower plantations, and 1.1% of India's land is covered under miscellaneous uses. Okay, maybe some gardens are there, some park is there, some flower plantations are there, so these all regions or these all areas are going to be called land under miscellaneous uses. So only 1.1% of the land is covered under this particular usage. Okay, so where are these kind of land mostly found? Mostly found in the states of Assam, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Kerala, Karnataka, Himachal Pradesh, etc. So in these regions, mostly you will see the land is under miscellaneous uses, meaning it is maybe converted into a park or a garden or some flower plantation. Okay, so these are the different land usage patterns of India that you've learned till here. Different land usage pattern. Okay, all these 7 are important. You have to remember the definition of each. In your own words, you can write the definition. Apart from that, you should be able to write the percentage. Okay, how much percentage of this land is covered under this each area. Then you have to write the different states, at least 3 to 4 states you have to remember, which are going to have this particular land under them. Okay, so let's move forward and talk about the next important subtopic here, that is agriculture. Okay, now what do you mean by agriculture? Agriculture is the term which is taken from 2 Latin words, agri and culture. Agri means land, culture means to cultivate. So together when we put this, agriculture will mean cultivating the land. Okay, cultivating the land, growing something on the land, planting something on the land, and basically what are you planting? They are planting crop, food that you are going to eat, right? So this kind of or this procedure is called agriculture. So in the textbook it is given the meaning of agriculture: tilling of the soil. Tilling means what? Loosening the soil. Okay, tilling of the soil for raising food crop and raw material needed for a human being is called agriculture. Now food crop, okay, we understand, we grow wheat, we grow rice, that is food crop, right? But what do you mean by raw material? How is raw material grown in agriculture? Major example would be sugarcane. Sugarcane is not a part of your, you don't consume it directly. It's a food, I agree, but you don't consume it directly. Okay, you're going to convert sugarcane into sugar. So that is a raw material for sugar industry. Okay, keep that apart. Cotton, are you going to eat it? Is it a food crop? No, right? Jute, is it a food crop? No, it is a raw material for textile industry. From cotton and jute, textile industry are going to make their products. They're going to make clothes. So they're not food products, they're not food, but we're still going to grow them because they are used as raw material, right? So raw material and food is grown by tilling of the soil, and that process is known as agriculture. Okay. Now, what is the importance of agriculture? The major importance is that many people are involved in agriculture, they're employed in agriculture. More than 65% of people in India are directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture. 65% is a huge number, is a huge percentage. Okay, some of them are directly involved, they are farmers, they are growing the crop, they are the people who are providing us with the food. Others are indirectly involved, maybe they are the people who are working in some fertilizer factory. Even they are working for agriculture only, right? Fertilizers is for agriculture. Maybe they are working for some factory which is making suppose now rice will be there, you have to remove this outer cover of the rice grain, right? Then only you can consume it. So for that also there are some factories and all, okay, production lines. So maybe there some people are working, they are also dependent on agriculture only again. So totally if you count directly and indirectly, 65% of people in India are involved in agriculture. That is the major reason why we say agriculture is very, very important for India. India is an agriculturally rich country. Okay, that is the importance of agriculture. Also, we have so many factories which depend on agriculture. As I told you, cotton textile industry, silk industry, then there is jute industry, there is sugar industry. All these industries are going to depend on agriculture for its raw material. Now, because we're learning about agriculture, it becomes important for us to learn the different types of agriculture. So we have many types of agriculture. We have 8 types of agriculture. Out of these 8 types, 5 types are very, very important. 5 are very, very important. It is usually asked as a question, but totally there are 8. Okay, so let's learn about each type of agriculture in detail. So first we're going to talk about subsistence farming. Subsistence farming. So what is subsistence farming? Subsistence farming is nothing but the farmer is going to grow the crop only for himself and his family, and only a little part of it is going to sell in the market. So mostly the cultivation that he's doing, he is doing it for himself and his own family. He is not going to sell the whole thing in the market and get money in return. He's not going to do that. He is going to grow the crop and he's going to consume it by himself. Maybe he's growing wheat, he's going to keep most of the wheat for himself and his family. A little part of the wheat he might sell in the market. So that is subsistence farming. It is going to help in the subsistence of the farmer and his family. So there are 2 types under subsistence farming, that is shifting farming or shifting agriculture. Shifting farming we have, and then next one we have sedentary farming. B is sedentary farming. Okay. Okay, now what are these 2? Sedentary farming is nothing but normal farming where the farmer has just one land. He's going to grow on that land, and after he harvests the crop. Harvest meaning what? You cut the crop, right? After the crop is grown, after it has matured, you cut the crop. That is called harvesting. So after you harvest the crop, again after a few days he's going to grow one more crop in that same land. That is called sedentary farming. On the same land he's going to grow the crop. Whereas shifting farming is different here. Shifting farming, also known as jumming in some parts of India. Here the farmer is going to clear one particular patch of land. Clear means what? If there are trees there, there are bushes there on that land, he's going to cut those. He's going to clear it for agriculture. He's going to do tilling of that land. And he's going to grow certain things or certain crops on that land. After the crop has grown, okay, he might do cultivation there again for the next time. So like this he will do cultivation on that same land for 4 to 5 years. Till the soil is fertile. Keep that in mind. Only till the soil is fertile. As soon as the soil starts losing its fertility, see, after you continuously grow crop on that land, the soil will lose its fertility, right? All the nutrients will be taken away by the plant. So as soon as the soil loses its fertility, the farmer is going to leave that land. He's going to leave the land behind. He's going to go to the next land, clear that land again. If there were trees, bushes, he's going to cut it, clear the land again and do cultivation on that land for the coming 4 to 5 years. Again after 4 to 5 years he is going to shift to another land. Okay, so what is he doing? He's shifting his land, and that is why it's called shifting agriculture. He's continuously moving from one land to the other. As soon as the land loses its fertility, he's going to move to the other land. So this type of farming here is called shifting farming. Okay, and that will come under subsistence farming. So subsistence farming is nothing but the farmer is going to grow crop for himself and his family. Under that you have two types: shifting farming, where the farmer is going to clear one patch of land and grow crops there for 4 to 5 years. Later on, for the next 4 to 5 years, next years he's going to take another land. He's going to shift to another land. Okay, that way he's just doing the same thing. Sedentary farming is only one land he has, there only he's going to grow continuously. He's not going to change his land every time, now and then. Okay, on the same land only he's going to grow. On the fixed land he is going to grow his cultivation. He is not going to shift from one place to another. That is sedentary farming. So the next one here is intensive farming. Okay, now what is intensive farming? This is also very important. In intensive farming, a large amount of capital and labor is going to be used on a particular unit of land. A large amount. It's intensive. Okay, intensive word is used there for a reason, because a large amount of capital means money, a large amount of capital investment, and along with that a large amount of labor is used there on this land. It might be a small land, it must be a huge land, okay, but more than required labor and capital is used. Why? Because a better production is required from that particular place. A better production, if more and more labor is used, more and more capital is used there, you're using better quality of seeds, you're using better fertilizers and manure and all these things, so obviously the cultivation is going to be better there in that region. Okay, and that's why it's called intensive farming. In this type of farming, a large amount of capital and labor is going to be used. Okay, so in this particular farming, throughout the year cultivation will be taking place. Throughout the year, whole year, the cultivation will be taking place in this land. So next, let's learn about the third type, commercial farming. Commercial farming. Okay, so what is commercial farming? In this type of farming, basically the crop is grown to sell in the market. The crop that is grown, it is used for commercial purpose. Commercial meaning to sell in the market. Understand that commercial means to for business. Okay, for buying and selling, for selling in the market, you're going to grow this crop. That's why it's called commercial farming. The system of farming in which crops are grown to sell in the market. Under this type of farming, cash crops are cultivated on a large scale. Now what are cash crops? Cash crops are opposite to food crops. Food crops, you know, cash crops are cotton, jute, all this, sugarcane also, oil seeds, sunflower oil, groundnuts, all these will come under cash crops, because you mostly sell them in the market. You don't consume that directly for your family, right? The farmer and the farmer's family are not going to consume it directly, but they're going to sell it in the market. So commercial farming is basically growing crop on the large scale to sell them in the market. The fourth type of farming is mixed farming. Okay, what is mixed farming? Growing different types of crop. See here, what I mean is, you're not necessarily growing a different type of crop, like it will not include, don't imagine you're growing rice and wheat together. I am not meaning that. Basically what I mean to say is, you're growing food as well as fodder together. Food as well as food for livestock. What is the food for livestock called? Fodder, right? Whatever the animals eat, the grass or whatever it is, that's called fodder. So when you're going to grow your food as well as fodder together, it will be called mixed farming. So maybe the farmer has some domestic animals, he has some cows and buffaloes. So for them, he's going to grow some amount of fodder in his field along with the crop that is growing there in the field. So together when they grow, it's called, that farming is called mixed farming. Understand? So when you're growing crop as well as fodder together, it's called mixed farming. Crop as well as further. Okay, so that is mixed farming. Clear to you? The fifth important one is plantation farming. Okay, so what is plantation farming? Plantation farming means that you're growing a particular crop on a large scale. One crop on a very large scale. It refers to the cultivation of a single crop on a large estate for market. For example, tea plantation, coffee plantation, rubber plantation. See, you must have seen tea or coffee plantation in Karnataka also. There are many places in Karnataka, in Shimoga, in other places where you can easily see coffee tea plantations, right? So there the whole hill area will be covered with this coffee plantation, whole hill area. No other crop is being grown there. Only one coffee plant will be growing there in this whole entire hilly area. So large estate will be covered under one type of cultivation, one type of crop. That is called plantation farming there. So example of plantation farming: tea, coffee, rubber, coconut, etc. All these are important, you can say, crops which are grown under plantation farming. Understood? You're going to plant the one crop over a large estate, over a large area. That is known as plantation farming. Okay, let's move forward and learn about the sixth one. These five are very common and they are important. The remaining are, rarely seen in India, but also they are included in the agriculture, the different types of agriculture. So the sixth one here is dry farming. Okay, so what do you mean by dry farming? It is a method of farming carried out in an area which receives very less rainfall. They have used the word scanty rainfall. It means very less. Okay, very less rainfall is there, and irrigation facilities are also absent. Irrigation meaning providing water, right? Those facilities are also not there. So in that area, it is very difficult to grow any kind of crop, right? So that particular farming there will be called dry farming. What are you going to grow there? You're going to grow some type of maybe some cactus plants or some plants which do not require much water. So that farming is called dry farming because very low rainfall is there in that area. Also, irrigation facilities are not available in that area completely. So that particular type of farming will be called dry farming. Next type of farming, dry farming is practiced in different regions, mostly in the western Rajasthan, where there is very scanty rainfall and there is no good irrigation facilities. So that's why, as the word suggests, it's called dry farming. Let's learn about the next one here. It is humid farming. Next is humid farming. In humid farming, the area is going to have a good amount of rainfall and irrigation is not required. The area is going to have a good amount of rain. So the area is going to have a good amount of rainfall, and so irrigation is not required in that area. That area is going to have a good amount of rainfall and irrigation is not required. That area will be called humid farming. Okay, so according to the definition given in your textbook, it refers to the cultivation of crop in area which receives sufficient rainfall and the crop is grown without the help of irrigation. It is found in different areas near the western coast which receive good rainfall. The last type of irrigation here is irrigation farming. Last type of agriculture, irrigation farming. Okay, so in irrigation farming, irrigation is used to grow the crop. Without irrigation, you are not able to grow the crop because rainfall is less in that area. So without irrigation, you are not able to grow the crop. Irrigation is required to grow the crop in that particular area. That's why it is known as irrigation farming. Without irrigation, you are not able to grow crop in that particular area. These are the 8 types of agriculture that you learn in this lesson. So first is subsistence farming, Under that we have shifting farming and sedentary farming, then intensive farming, commercial farming, mixed farming, plantation farming, dry farming, humid farming, and lastly irrigation farming. So this was all that you learned in the first session of your chapter India Land Resources. Let's continue the remaining part in a second session. Thank you for watching class. Have a nice day.